everybody. It's myself and Comics here with another indie interview for you guys. Today we have Mark, and he's going to be talking about his project, So-Called Living. How are you today, Mark?
I am fantastic.
I lost my pencil, gosh dang it. It's okay. So, Mark, how do you pronounce your last name? Maya? Maya?
Maia, you nailed it.
Woo!
You
Maya,
know,
let's
there was a,
go.
a time in my life where nobody would pronounce my name right. I get Maya, Maya, May. That's what I would get. People try to stumble through it. And ever since Maya became a popular name for like girls, and it was around the time all those girls reached like 13, 15. Once that happened, everybody started pronouncing my name right, because there were so many different spellings of that Maya as a first name. So I was like, hey, that worked out. So like so many more people pronounce my name correctly. Although unfortunately for my wife, although she changed her last name to Maya, everybody thinks that's her first name. So people that have known her for years in the business industry all of a sudden start calling her Maya because they think that's her first name. And she tries to explain to them, I was like, no, that's my last name.
That is my married name, good people.
Yeah. So
Slap.
it's interesting. So I guess because it's more popular it's popular as a first name now. So I guess that's why everybody's like, they hear it and they're like, oh, that's your first name and your last name is like that.
It's
That's it.
true, because,
Yeah.
you don't hear the I because it has the Y sound.
Mhm.
So, we're doing So-Called Living, books 3 and 4. Books 3 and
Yes.
4?
Yeah. I got 1 and 2 right here. So 1 and 2, I ran this earlier this year in March. So that was a Kickstarter I ran in March, and that went really well, and everybody really liked it. And we've had people approaching us in shows saying, they backed it and they loved it, so they brought the issues for me to sign. I was like, oh, that's great.
Aw.
Yeah, and now, so we were running 3 and 4. I'm happy that we able to get 4 issues out in 1 year. That was excellent. And yeah, and 3 and 4 basically it continues the story of 1 and 2, but also it lays down the groundwork for a much bigger story, which I can get into once we. I'll follow your lead. Whatever you ask me, I'll answer.
Yee. Alright. Am I allowed to play the video?
Yeah, by all means, knock yourself out. You do whatever you need.
Awesomeness. Alright.
Jack is back, baby. If you're a fan or were even moderately entertained by So-Called Living books 1 and 2, then you're gonna love books 3 and 4. This time around, we've got more action, more laughs, and more of these guys who are not to be trifled with. And the return of everyone's favorite BFBs, Nick and Casper. If you missed it the first time, So-Called Living is a dark comedy about a guy named Jack who gets turned into a vampire and has to learn to adapt to this new way of living. And unbeknownst to Jack, the mob has gotten wind of his newly sired vampire status, and they are very interested, but not in a good way. Books 3 and 4 also introduce some new characters that will play a pivotal role in our evolving storyline, some of which are sure to become fan favorites.
Who's Jenny?
But you know what the best part is? Marco Leone is back. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The amazing artist who poured all that visual goodness into your eyeballs the first time around has got a gravy boat full of artistry that will delight your corneas. A ladle of...
Okay, enough with the food metaphors. We get it. Marco's good, and we're lucky to have him. Just say that.
I was just doing a thing.
I know. Stop it.
Okay, we're really lucky to have Marco. He's really good at the drawings. And that's not all. For our elite covers, we've snagged Doug Wright Award nominee and all-around good guy, John Little, to grace us with this fantastic variant for Book 3. And for our Book 4 elite cover, we have a rare treat indeed, brought to us by the one, the only, Mark Maia. Yeah, I drew this one. Now, if you're looking for variants of the sexy persuasion, allow me to introduce you to our obligatory sexbot editions. This time around, we've called upon the ridiculously talented Larry Twasson to produce a set of what could possibly be our sexiest covers yet. And for our returning backers who joined the Blood Bunny Colony the first time around, check your email for a special deal exclusive to you. Now, if you haven't joined the colony yet, we've got you covered. These adorable keychains are up for grabs yet again. By picking one up, you will be automatically inducted into the Blood Bunny Colony, which unlocks special deals on all future so-called living Kickstarters. But most importantly, you need to know that without you, none of this would have been possible. And for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you.
I forgot. I almost exit out of the entire thing. Ah. Okay, I just got word that the link that was given to me for the Kickstarter is not the correct one.
Really?
Yes, I don't. To
There,
me, like, I saw it. I literally saw it. I saw it. I tested it out
well,
and everything.
it must work. You just watch. You're on it now.
I actually have Opera, so I have it saved.
Oh, I didn't change anything, so I don't know what would have happened. So, anyways, I just pasted it in the private chat if you want to grab it from there.
Yeah. Right, and then and since I'm going to pin it random, since I'm the only one who can now because of YouTube's new rules. I have to do everything. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Okay, so I'm gonna copy a link address. Thank you so much. All right, so that was an awesome trailer, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
It was hysterical. I loved every minute of it. The yelling at you, and then promoting your own art on there. You're also an artist.
Yeah, I actually I've always been an artist. I've worked in the video game industry for 25 years, and most of that has been as an art director and creative director. But I started off as an animator, a background painter, a pixel artist. So that's how I started in the industry. But before that, when I was a kid, I always drew. And I thought when I got into comics, I'd be the artist. But I learned growing up that sequential art is not my strong suit. So I'm a much better animator than I am a sequential artist. So, and like storyboards, those aren't my thing. And even if I did, my art style isn't really what I was looking for. So I'm very particular in like the art has to match the voice of the characters, has to match the beats of the story. So when I found Marco Leone, I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Yes, and when I was given the link to look at some of the stuff, I just breezed through because I only had a few hours left to check out some stuff. I just started to do some skimming, and I'm like, ooh, the art style from 1 through 3, it's different every time. I guess a type of style is forming in each chapter.
Yeah, Marco he's getting more familiar with the characters. So I was looking for somebody that kind of drew like Humberto Ramos. He's one of my favorite artists. I really like Ramos. And as far as like my writing style, I thought his art style would complement it really well. So I was looking for somebody like him. And a lot of the styles of artists that sent me their portfolios was not what I was looking for. Not that they were bad art, is just not what I was looking for. And I was very specific, because if I'm going to do this, I'm going to pay an artist to do it. I want to pay an artist who's going to do exactly what I want. You know what I mean? Like the same exact style that I'm looking for. So I found Marco and I was like, perfect. I actually told somebody who works with a bunch of artists, this is the style I'm looking for. And they're like, I found the person for you. And they sent me to Marco. They introduced us, and it's been ever since. It's been great. And his artwork's been getting better and better. So issue 1, he's feeling out the character, because it was kind of a morph on his style, because his style is a lot younger. And so he was and I asked him, I was like, I need you to tweak it a little bit more like this to match. And I gave him some samples of Ramos. I was like, you're so close, but can you do this and make it a little more adult? And then he did. And I was getting more and more comfortable with it. So not only is he getting faster, but his characters are getting better. He's getting more personality out of them. So
Yes, I definitely like when I saw number 3 first, and then I'm like, where's, because I couldn't find number 1 or 2 for some reason, and then I'm like, where's number 1 and 2? And I'm like, oh, there it is, and I'm like, oh, the style is different. Oh, it's more blocky, more character. I don't know how to explain it, but there was times think in the 90s 2000s where like a lot of cartoons around that time were having like square fingers instead of rounded ones, and that was just something that I realized, and it ended up becoming like very nostalgic to me.
oh, sorry, I was reading. Dude, you missed the titties.
And he misspelled it on purpose. I'm still very quiet. Okay, so great news, Mark. I asked them about your volume. They said that your volume is actually great.
Excellent.
Yes, so I don't actually have to redo your volume. I did realize that my mic is actually a bit far. I've been
Yes.
talking this entire time. You guys are supposed to give me constant feedback. I gotta fix it. Because last time there was audio issues, and the problem was I couldn't hear anything.
Well, you sound great to me now.
Yeah, so I just moved it closer. It's on my laptop now. And so this is called So-Called Living. So we have the why, and then we have some fan service. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Creating comic books is expensive. This is also something that I actually tell people a lot when they want to create their own comic books, especially as a writer. But lucky for me, I've got you guys. And because of that, I was able to release So-Called Living Books 1 and 2, and for that, I will be forever grateful. The impact you've had on my life and dreams can't be put into words. At this point, a better writer would insert something inspiring and heartfelt, but all my heart feels is gratitude, so for what it's worth, thank you. To continue Jack's story, I'm calling once again on your gracious support. I need you to... I thought of a Bernie meme, so I'm butchering that. I am once again calling for your support, and I'm like, I love that meme. It's so funny. I need your help to keep the story going to keep Jack alive, well, alive-ish. Thank you for showing up, for the support, for everything. This one's for you. Is that a bat?
Yep, that's a bat. That's a bat. Yeah.
Thank you for the bat, because it's a vampire story. The story, So-Called Living, is a dark comedy set in a world where the extraordinary is ordinary. Vampires, werewolves, and zombies live amongst us normies in a world much like our own. Well, except for the vampires, werewolves, and zombies, that is. When we last left Jack, he was learning to adapt to his new way of living. And now, with the help of his friends, he's doing okay. I mean, they try, in their own way. Jack's story is very much of an out of the frying pan into the fire situation. In this case, the fire is comprised of some very bad men looking to do some very bad things, and they've got their eye on one baby vampire in particular. And Jack Eo is his name, Eo. I love that. Books 3 and 4 will also hail the return of fan favorites Nick and Casper, two of the biggest, baddest mother effers this side of fangdom. And then we have some look at the interiors. I love the art so much.
Yeah, Marco did a great
the artist
job.
was Marcos?
Marco Leone.
Marco Leone. Please give him our regards. Not regards. That's not the right word. I think it's just
Poor
gratitude,
Marco.
isn't it?
Yeah. Poor Marco.
No. But we're also saying in the comments that we're just really loving this type of art style.
Yeah,
And this is the big bad, I believe. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, these guys are very bad dudes, and they're very opposite to Jack. Jack and his friends are very much they're the comic relief. They're a bit of they're like dorks, and everything. And Jack's trying to adapt to this new way of living, but his way of what he's adapting to is simple things. Like in the first issue, he can't get into his apartment because he's a vampire, so there's nobody to invite him into his own apartment. So he's homeless, so he can't get into his apartment complex, and so it's like small problems like that at first, but it's that the first two issues kind of establish him trying to adapt this new way of living, and then we see a hint of these bad guys coming for him in issue two, and basically the mob has gotten wind of Jack, and they're very serious people. So you kind of get that from these 3 pages. Anybody who checks out the page can go read them. These 3 pages, they're very much kind of like The Sopranos. Imagine The Sopranos, but they're hunting down the cast of Friends. That's that's kind of what it's like, right? And even though I only show 3 pages of it, these are 3 pages. These are 3 pages from issue 3. But at the bottom of this, there's actually a link that you can go read issue 1 completely for free on Global Comics.
Of course, Global Comics, the goat, the goat.
Yep. So yeah, that link, if you click on there, it'll take you right to issue 1. You can read that for free.
I'm copying the link address. And I'm gonna put it in the description.
Yeah, and book 2 is available there for purchase, or if you're a sub. I'm not exactly sure how Global Comics works. I just literally put it on there like 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure how that functions yet, but yeah. So book 2 is there as well.
You can
but
actually, some people have stuff paid. Some people have stuff for free. There was this person who I've interviewed a couple times. He makes kaiju books. He has like 5 issues right now. I just interviewed him for his 5th issue like a couple weeks ago. And issues 1 through 3 are actually free on the Global Comics, but he specifically did not put 4 and 5 on purpose, I believe, because it's probably something he wants to do later. So I believe you can actually choose, because some people choose their stuff to pay only, some are free and then pay, or some like doing it all for free.
Yeah, so issue 1 is all free, and the first 10 pages of issue 2 are free, and then there's the pay system. It's the pay system. I don't like I set a price, but I know you need to get a subscription before you're even able to. So I'm not exactly sure how that works. So like I said, I put it up there. I put a price. I did what I think is right, and it's been sitting there ever since. Without me looking at it, because I've been busy with my just life in general and getting ready for the Kickstarter, so I haven't really had the time. I trust it's fine up there.
Yay!
Yeah,
we got blind trust. That's the best. So this is issues 3 and 4, or books 3 and 4.
Yes,
like volume like form, or like 20-30 pages issue form?
No, it's issue form. So it's these are 28 pages per issue, where the first one was both of them were 24 pages. So this one's got 4 more pages per. So I wasn't sure what to call them, issues or books. So I just went with books because it was shorter. I could write it bigger. It reads easier at a glance. But yeah, so 3 and 4, it continues the story, and you can actually tell issue 4. I love issue 4. Issue 4 was the first time I gave a scribble to Marco, and I was like, I want something like this, and I color coded the like stick people, and I was like, this is Nick, this is Jack, this is Tim, and everybody else is just a bunch of people, and I want just the scrap was just a group of people on top of each other. I don't want to see any paper. Like I want to be crowded fight, and he came back with this cover, and I was like, yes, Marco, you nailed it, buddy. I was like, never once have we been so in sync before. Like there's always something, like he'll come back with something. I was like, oh, that's good, but can you do this? That's good. Can you do that? But he came back with that. I was like, nailed it. Even when he comes back with something that was like I liked right away, it was never at this level where I was like, yeah, I love this. I was showing it to everybody. It's like, look what Marco did. Look on my phone. It's like, look what Marco did. So that was great. And so like the action picks up in issue 4. So you're going to see more action and some more serious business go down in issue 4 than you have in anything up until that point. And in issue 3, we meet, we get to know more of Tim, who's one of the characters that's introduced in book 2.
Okay, awesome.
And then we have variants. which we'll get to as you keep scrolling. You'll see more.
Yay! So it's an 8-issue miniseries. So you may it says give or take. So you're saying it may be longer, may be shorter.
It's not going to be shorter. The last script I'm tightening up, so it's either going to be a bigger book, or I might squeeze it into book 9. Depends. So I've got to massage that last book a bit to feel it out.
And I love
So, yeah.
how you say that, the characters are fantastic. You love writing for them. Talking about how unique their personalities are and how well they mesh together. Like you said, the cast of Friends, and then the banter that goes on, and while other stuff is happening.
Yeah, all the characters feel very different. I wanted to make them sound real. I didn't want them to be exposition machines either. I wanted to be able to follow along what's going on in this world by just listening in on the conversation of these characters. So everything they talk about sounds very natural, and I try to keep the writing snappy. So yeah. So it's quick to read. I want people to just kind of breeze through this. So it's kind of like a lyricality to the way they talk.
Makes sense. Is the area they're living in based on anywhere, or is it?
It's kind of a combo of New York and Toronto. Now, I've never been to New York, but I've seen enough movies and I've read enough Marvel comic books to be like, okay, I think I mentioned Central Park in something, or Central something. Anyways, I mentioned something like that, something from New York in one of these issues. But I'm born and raised in Toronto. I don't live there now. I moved out for work, but it had to be something that was like a big city, because that's what I'm used to. So yeah, so that's kind of what I loosely base it on, but there's no like landmarks or anything.
Nice. Oh, I love the digital part where you use one on the phone, one on the laptop. That actually looks almost like mine. That's very scary.
I had a laptop like that, exploded.
So is there a way that you have a backup tier for books 1 and 2 as well?
Yep, there is a down below. I offer these catch-up collections, so you can get books 1, 2, 3, and 4 in whatever covers you want. So if you want the standard covers, or all the elite covers, or all the sexpot covers, because each book has 3 different variant covers, and they're also 3, like the standard ones are the ones illustrated by Marco. That's the ones with we've seen already. Mm-hmm. So the artist that does the inside does the cover, and those I'll just keep reprinting. The elite ones are limited to 500, and I got guest artists to come in and do it. Actually, I did one of the covers for this one, and for the sexpot editions, they're like, I'll when you get to it, I'll explain what those are about. So there's an interesting story. They're not just random. I didn't want them to be just random, and I'll get to it when we get to it. If you're still scrolling, I'll explain it when we get there.
Awesomeness. All right, so we have the digital pack, and it includes PDFs 3 and 4. What's a DRM free PDF?
I had to look that up myself because I did a lot of research on Kickstarter, but basically DRM, I can't remember what the DRM stands for, but basically it's a PDF you can open anywhere. You don't need like a Kindle or whatever. That's pretty much all it means. Is it's unlimited. Like it can be shared, it can be downloaded. So I just trust people that when they buy it, they're not going to just mass share it everywhere, but they can. Like I can't stop anybody. So it's a bit of faith in like humanity that everybody's not just giving my book away after they buy it. So
I believe in you, humanity. I believe in you for this only.
Yeah. So this is the standard. So when you buy the standard, you get the digital version with the standard covers.
This is the first time I'm seeing it in this type of layout. I didn't expect it. I was very surprised. I kind of like it.
Yeah, so you see, there's a bunny motif through the whole thing, and that's because as the story's going on, as we have Jack learning to deal with being a vampire, we got the mob that's hunting Jack, and he's unbeknownst to Jack, they're hunting him, and eventually that whole story collides with this bunny story that's kind of happening in the background, and you'll notice that right from issue 1, there's like just 1 or 2 panels that mentions this bunny situation, and then it just happens in the background. And then it's done, and then something happens in book 2 that mentions that again, and then was it you still have faith in humanity because he's deaf Canadian? I see. But yeah, so there's this kind of underlying bunny storyline that is going to play a major part, but currently it's in a background event.
Ooh, nice. Because I'm loving the bunnies.
Thank you. Yeah, they're popular.
All right, we got standard cover credits. Credits. Oh my gosh. Books 3 and 4 illustrated by the artist Marco. And then there's his Instagram on there. Nice.
And these are the elite covers. So these are when I get usually I get guest artists to come in, and I did for book 3. John Little is an artist that was nominated for a Doug Wright Award, which is a big deal here in Canada. I don't think it's in the States, but he's got his comic book was nominated for an award, and I got him to do this cover. And this cover is very much a John Little cover. It's exactly what I expect. Like I gave him the concept. I was like, here's an idea. Because at the time when I asked him, he hadn't read the books yet. So I was like, but here's an idea I was thinking. And I drew basically a triangle with stickmen falling out of it, going into this gaping sea. And that was a mouth, right? So I was like, something like this. So he was like, oh, I like that idea. And he went with it. And when I got back, like the way the characters look, the way their bodies kind of like bend, he's got this kind of soft style to his line work. And I was like, he sent it, and I was like, that's very you, which is exactly what I wanted. It was a very John Little style. And that's what he did. So he did not disappoint. I quite enjoy that cover. And for the next one, the one with the bunnies, I did that.
Oh.
I did the bunny cover. So I wanted to do something that was kind of like kind of something for the Blood Bunny Colony, which is members who join the Blood Bunny Colony get either a discount or they get something special in addition to their pledge when they pledge. So if you're a member, then there's benefits to being a member. And this cover was kind of like a thank you to them. So I just made all these covers, and I wanted to do something that was stylized, that was just like 3 colors. So this is just black, pink, and blue.
I love the way you draw bunnies.
Thank you.
This bunny over here to the left, like corner, he kind of looks jacked.
Yeah, he's a little buff. My wife's favorite is the one right next to him. That one,
the chubby bunny.
Yeah, the chubby bunny. And she also likes the guy in the back that's peeking through the ears. He's underneath the letter N. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I added him at the very end. He was like a last bunny. So she thought the cover was done, and then she looks at it. She's like, I love that bunny that's poking his head out the back. He's the only one that's like looking.
Bunny right there.
Yeah. So.
Thank you for drawing the bunnies.
Thank you very much for enjoying the bunnies.
It's really hard going to be choosing between a cover and bunnies for me.
So, and these editions, the Sex Pot covers, as you can see, it's got a badge that's called the Obligatory Sex Pot Edition. Now, here's the story behind these. These aren't just this wasn't just a random decision, but when I first did books 1 and 2, I had no idea about anything. Like I never created a comic book. So I was like, how do you make this? If I go on Kickstarter, what's popular on Kickstarter? How do you even make a Kickstarter? Like all these questions, I knew nothing. I was starting from ground zero, right? So I was like, okay, well, let me study Kickstarters. And I was talking to my wife. I was like, how the hell are we going to compete with these books? Because it's either IPs, like intellectual properties, like Power Rangers or something or The Expanse. Those are the big money makers on here, like things that people already know. Or you're an artist that has a huge following, like my buddy Derek, who he just did a Kickstarter. Derek Loffman, he crushed like 95 grand, and on his.
Derek. I'm just kidding.
But he's got a following that he's built for the last like 10, 15 years on Instagram. So like it wasn't like an overnight success for him. So. And I was like, but how are we going to compete with these guys that are like, either they have an established license or they have an established fan base? And I was like, we're a nobody. And I was looking at other things. It was like, another thing that was popular is if nobody knows you, you can put out a book that's practically softcore porn or like just sexy women everywhere. And people just go ballistic and they just sell all kinds of books. And then, so my wife's like, oh, why don't you do a sexy cover? And I was like, I'm not going to just put a sexy woman on the cover. It doesn't make any sense for the book. It's like, I can't figure out how to make it make sense. And then I thought about it and I kept looking at it and I was wrapping around my head. I was like, I got an idea. A sexy cover works if it's part of kind of the tongue in cheek and the way the characters look at reality is. So I decided I'm going to put this badge on the cover called the obligatory sex pot edition. And the joke is, if you want to be successful on Kickstarter, you got to have a sexy cover. And clearly that's not 100% true. But if you look at the stats of like the highest money makers in Kickstarter, a lot of them are sexy books, but there's nothing sexy about So-Called Living. So I wanted to put something that was kind of like, think of it as like a cosplay treatment of either a character or an event in the book. So there's a small part of book 3 where you see a bunch of zombies in a pool. So I did a sexy zombie girl coming out of a pool full of zombies. And then the big fight you saw in the beginning of all the guys fighting, I was like, well, what if we do a version, but instead of all the guys fighting, it's all the girls fighting. So I got Larry Twasson, who's an amazing artist, and he drew this by hand. Actually, this is the actual pencil. He pencils and he inks by hand. So this is the actual copy of that cover. And he did the other one too.
Time?
Oh, sorry.
Whoa.
You're good. Hold on. There you go. Hold on. There you go. So he actually penciled this traditionally, and he inks it traditionally. So he does, does a fantastic job. So I got him to do the other cover as well, and it went really well. Like, my wife loves his work, so he's like, oh, we'll just get him to do both, and the badge grounds it into our story. So at both, and we're not hiding it. We're like, hey, we're giving you sexy things because people like sexy things, and why they're there, because they're there. It's and that was the joke. So the badge, that clinched it for me. That kind of tied it into the humor of the book itself. Even though, if I got to be honest, if anybody's looking for sexy pages inside, there's nothing sexy about it. But on the cover, these are great. So, and there's only 300 of these being printed, and then they're gone.
That's a lot of women out there. That's a lot of things happening in that.
There was a lot of work for that cover, and that was a lot of work for that cover for everybody, because it was a lot of work for Larry to draw it, and then the colorists had a lot of work coloring that, because I was like, I need like people with like different skin tones. I didn't tell them any specific. I was like, give me different skin tones, different hair tones, different lipstick color, different nail. Like, you need to mix it up so you get depth, right? Whoa, my dogs just lost their minds upstairs. I don't know what happened.
I have a dog. I understand.
Yeah. So, and then for me, I once the colors came back to me, I had to clean up all, because it's traditionally hand drawn. There's a lot of line work that you don't necessarily need to see. So the girl in the front with her hands like this, there was so much excessive line work that, his like rough lines that you could still see. So I was in there cleaning up a whole bunch of lines, and there's a lot of rough lines in there that I had to like go in there and tidy up. So it looks great when you see the traditional pencil, that's fine. But once you put color behind it and you print it, it's going to really stand out, all these rough lines. So that book, that cover was just a lot of work in general for everybody.
R.I.P. I'm just kidding. Now I feel bad for people who do like zombie like comic books and stuff. Like, you have to add a zombie here, and then one all the way in the back, just because.
Yep.
My sticky notes. It's okay. I dropped my sticky notes.
And thank you for liking the covers. I'm seeing the comments.
Of course. My audience is male, so it's gonna happen.
I've got, although like I've had just as many, because the original Sex Pot editions for books 1 and 2, those have been for sale at like shows where I'm at, and I've had just as many men and women buy the issue. So it's been equal for who's bought them. So I can't say there's been more men or more women that's bought those. It's been even, which is interesting.
No, it's true. It is true. I'm one of them. I will buy them if I'm interested in one. I've been really tempted to buy it. The problem, no, not the problem. No. I just have a guy-only audience. Like, my audience is, they're all guys. I can't get girls to come over here. I'm cursed.
Yeah, it seems.
Where are my female audience members?
I was doing actually research and like listening in on a lot of people who've done research on like the audience for comic books, and it's seems like comic books are more male oriented, and then
know.
manga is more female oriented. It seems to be the numbers.
That's because they have more for us over there. I mean,
So
right now in Japan, they've been having some problems for the past few years of putting out and promoting a lot of girl stuff. So for the past few years, I was with nothing, and I'm like, you mother crappers. And now for the past year, I think maybe last year or 2 years ago, they finally started bringing them back, and I'm like, thank you, more promotion, thank you. It's a problem everywhere. I just want stuff. And I do like the name obligatory sex pot.
I hear. So I think people who get it and they like it, but some people just don't get it and they're like, oh no, I don't understand the badge, but they like the cover, so they buy it anyways.
Oh, I
And
love just how these characters have so much personality. You can see it in the style. If
yeah,
that
and these are the all in. Actually, those sex pot covers were the zombie girl coming out of the pool was my wife's favorite cover until I did the bunny one, and now she loves the bunny one.
For me, I'm caught in between the bar fight and the bunnies.
Yep. Yeah, they're also both. I really enjoy all the way all these covers turned out. So I'm a big fan.
I love the different hairstyles. I do want more color though. It took me a really long time to find this black person here.
Yeah. Well, I'm always. It's funny because in the first, when Marco was sending me images, and I was just it's such a busy process. It's moving, and I was like, Marco, all you draw is white people. I was like, and I was like, and I don't know, like I've never met Marco in person, but I actually don't know if he's white because he's very tanned. If he's so,
is he Italian?
He's Italian, but like the other Italian guy I know that works with Marco is as white as I am. Like I'm Portuguese. I tan well, but I don't go outside, so I look like this. And then when I tan, I'm brown. So, but Marco's like very dark. But I was like, all you draw is white people. So, and then I gave it to then Juan Castro with Casby Studios. They color it. Now I don't know what their racial situation is there, but they also come back with a lot of white people. And it's funny because everybody's I find like no matter what your race is, there's a lot of people just default to white. And I understand there's certain characters.
It is something I've learned, It's just an educational thing.
And once they're drawn, like I understand once they're drawn, you can't just make a white person a black person. There's certain features that just doesn't look right. Like you can make them really tanned and they're like, I don't know, they're a tan Spanish woman or whatever. You know what I mean?
Like the one up front.
Yeah, like
I noticed like almost immediately. I'm like, there she is! There she is! There she is!
So I do try to make a conscious effort of that. And but when I was focused on everything else, it like slipped by me. It's like it's not one of those things I think about. Especially it's one of the things I think you don't think about, especially if your environment is mostly white and you're white. You don't think about it because that's my norm, right? Like when I was in Toronto, here's the thing: when I lived in Toronto, born and raised, it's all a mix. It was a huge mix. I was one of the few like white families on my street, right? So, and that was fine. Like I had friends of all genders and races, and it was just a big mix. Never thought about it once. That's my life growing up. And I moved to London, Ontario, and I was here for a few months. And then I didn't realize how white it was here. There was not a lot of different races at all. And so I went back to Toronto to visit my family, and I got on the bus and I was like, I'm the only white guy on the bus. And at that point, I've never noticed that before. And I got on there and I was like, I went back to London and I told my girlfriend at the time, I was like, she was from London, and I was like, your city is so white. You have like no black people here. I've seen some Chinese people and I've seen zero Indian people. Like I was like, everybody's white here. And she's like, yeah, it's like a very like old white, old money city. It's not so much anymore. Now since I've been here, it's diversified quite a bit. Things have changed, but yeah, all genders, male, female. That's the that's what I meant when I said all genders. If anybody's curious, I know there's a whole alphabet of categories now, but that's what I meant when I said it. If I saw the comment in the question, when the comment come in,
Ah,
but so the when I got here, I never realized it, and I guess I probably didn't notice it because I came here and everybody was white, but I'm white, so it didn't even clue in. So, but that's something I'm trying to be conscious of in the comic book because I was like I wanted to be a mix because I wanted to be kind of like my city I grew up in where it was a mix. But
for me, I am
once,
confusion
yeah,
because my mom's Honduran, my dad's Puerto Rican. They both have a different shade of like brown,
mhm,
and for me, they like I have myself and I have my siblings. For me, my sister, and my brother, even though my brother is almost a little bit to the lighter side, we all get mixed up as from being from India, Middle Eastern, like Egyptian, Pakistan. One of them said Indiana. I don't know why. Um, shoot, Afghanistan,
mhm.
uh, Sri Lanka, and a lot of them is because they have friends from there, and they all just look similar to us, and they're like, "Are you guys from there?" And I'm like, "No, no, I'm from here, but my mom's Honduran, my dad's Puerto Rican. I just look like this from their genetic
Yeah.
makeup." And it's funny because even people from India think I'm from India. Until they hear my name, they're like, "Oh, you're Latina," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, Bianca." Well, technically, it's an Italian name, but you know, it's derived from my auntie's name, Blanca, and they both mean white. You know, it's kind of funny.
Mhm.
And they're like, "Oh, I thought you were one of us. I thought you were Indian." I'm like, "Ha! I do get that a lot. Yes, yes," and I
I
think
had
it's
a
very funny.
I had a funny story where I sat on again. There's another bus story. I was in a bus in Toronto again. I was sitting there. I was in the very front seat, right behind the driver, and the bus was full. And this guy comes on, and he comes in reeking of Axe body spray, and he comes in, and he's just very like I could just feel this like nervous energy coming off this guy, and he comes in the bus, he looks around the bus, he sits down right across from me, right, and I'm just sitting there, and I just kind of look up at him casually, and then he looks around the bus and he starts going off on this racist rant, and he looks at me and he keeps going, but he's going so fast, he just came on like a whirlwind, sat down, went off on this racist rant, looks at me. I was the only other white guy on the bus along with this guy, and he was like, "Right, buddy, right, all these like immigrants taking our jobs, am I right? Yeah, you know I'm right." And nobody in the rest of the bus can even hear this conversation over him, so as far as they know, I'm agreeing with him because he's talking to me like I'm answering. And it's so fast. He's just like, "Am I right? These blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, you got me, buddy. You know what I'm talking about." Blah, blah. And he starts going off. He's like, "But, freaking immigrants, man." And he just walks off the bus.
What?
And he leaves me there to burn. I was like, what? I was like, first of all, my family is immigrants. I was like, my family immigrated here. I was like, I have nothing against immigrants. My family's immigrants. I was like, just because I'm white, it's because I'm pale. I'm the whitest person in my family. But it's I find that funny, but I was like, where'd this guy come from? He was on for one, but it was like the shortest stop. He came in for one stop, got up, he caused all this chaos, and just went away. And he just disappeared. And I was like, well, I got to get off this bus.
Like, what a weirdo.
I was like, this is the most awkward situation I'm in right now. It's kind
It
of
was
like
the
if you
Axe
heard that
body
conversation,
spray. It was intoxicating him.
if you heard that conversation on the phone, you would swear it was like two racists talking on the phone, agreeing with each other. But I didn't say anything, didn't nod my head. I was looking at him like with my eyes in shock, like, what's happening right now, right? So that was funny. Anyways,
That's unfortunately
off
like
topic.
an experience for me almost every day. It's almost every day now ever since I changed jobs because the place I used to work at for 7 years was mostly uh, very minority heavy. So it was mostly black people, some Asians, but mostly Cuban people. A lot of Cuban people, and they got angry when I didn't know Cuban slang, and I'm like, I'm sorry, it's not my fault. I barely know Spanish as is. I'm not gonna know Cuban slang.
I found it funny where my mom worked. She worked on the line at a factory, and my mom still doesn't speak English, and she's lived in Canada for years. And I find it like, because everybody she works with was like, in her section was Portuguese. It's like they put all the Portuguese people here, all the Italian people there, all the Indian people. It's like they kept them together, so everybody spoke the same language. So she's like, yeah, in my area I work with like all these Portuguese people. I work with all these. It's weird that it was all these, like, everybody stuck with their groups, and it made sense because nobody spoke a common language. Like at that factory, like the Portuguese people spoke Portuguese, the Chinese people spoke Chinese. Like nobody spoke English. If they did, it would be like yes, no, good boy, bad boy. That's what my mom likes to say a lot.
Aww.
So, anyways, let's continue. We kind of went off the rails there.
It happens. It's okay. So the rewards are in. Watch our sizzle reel below to see the glowing reviews So-Called Living books 1 and 2 have received. This compilation showcases why fans are raving and what new readers can look forward to as they dive into the world of So-Called Living. Get ready to get ready. No, I was right. Get ready to get hooked. Books 3 and 4 promise even more thrills. So-Called Living. I was wondering why that sounded so familiar. I love the show Living Single, which is what the blueprint of what created of what Friends took from that show. They had a similar blueprint to Living Single and decided to make their own white version. And that's actually true. That's actually history. Oh wait, was there a reel?
There's a video.
It's
yeah,
all
that's
in the bottom?
no. If you click on that thing, that the big photos of video, it says,
This one?
yeah, that's a.
No way.
It's a short little. I think it's like just a. I don't know if it's a minute or whatever, but
I'm
it's short.
really liking that all your links have pictures.
So yeah, it says click here to hear what they say, what they're saying. So if you want to watch that video, knock yourself. It's a short one. It's just like a short little review clip. It's not as long as the
I
other
realized
one.
it was not sharing the tab.
Oh.
Stop sharing. Share this tab instead. Yeah, that's what I
Oh,
want.
there
We
you
go.
Oh, you were watching it. It's 55 seconds. There you go.
It was 56.
Everyone's talking about so-called living.
This thing is stunning.
Check it out. It definitely looks like something we should be jumping on.
It's odd. It's refreshing. The jokes in it, the humor were fantastic.
The book is so much fun. Like, I really did enjoy reading the book. I was done. I was like, this is great.
Am I backing this book?
Yeah, for sure. That's right up Chris's alley.
If he does even half a good job as he does with his videos, I know these are going to be fantastic.
I mean, it's amazing artwork, for sure.
The least vampire-y vampires I've ever seen, and I love them.
Definitely gonna back once this goes official live.
You son of a bitch, take my money.
So yeah, that was for book 1 and 2. So that was for book 1 and 2, and I was able to put that together before the Kickstarter because I did all my podcast and YouTube channel things before the Kickstarter went live, where this time it's live now. So like anybody wants to back it, they can go right now. You don't have to wait.
Yay. That was nice. The fact you did that like before it was finished and before the Kickstarter started, and then just like 55 seconds was pretty good.
Yeah, because I'm happy that I was able to get the PDF review copies out to people so they could read it. So that happened. That was nice.
All right. So
random likes the work. Yep. And actually, what's funny about that sign is there's a callback to the very first book that I hid in there to see if fans of the first book get it. Is you see this little vampire cutout at the bottom of the sign? Yeah, there. that's actually from book one. Jack, the guy in the blue, gets handed a pamphlet, and the pamphlet is, so now you're a vampire, and that's the cover of the pamphlet, is this guy that looks like in the traditional vampire garb, and he flips through the pamphlet, but that's the cover. And I actually added that myself, where I made it like a jaggy cut outline, and I pinned it there with like just a pin thumbtack. So it was just a little callback to the first issue, that I wonder if anybody would pick up on that if if they read the first issue. So
I hope they do, because now I know, and now I'm gonna be looking for it.
So yeah, so I have $5 to sign the books. Obviously, if I see people at shows, I'm just going to sign the books. This is just another way to help fund the dream, right? Because making comic books is so expensive, especially if you're not the artist. And the Kickstarter, like, it helps toward the printing. It doesn't even touch on the cost for like Marco to illustrate, right? Because everybody else has been paid. Anybody who's touched this book has made more money on this than I have. But it's my dream, so like I'll pay them to put it out, and it's new and I'm unknown, so I understand. I'm confident in the story. It's good that when it gets out, people will like it and it'll take off. Like, it's already starting to do well. People starting to notice it and people like it, and it's great and getting good comments. But I'm new, yeah. And here's see those bunnies, that keychain you just passed. So that we make those here. Like, my friend Jamie drew the original bunny, and then I recreated it in Illustrator. I gave it to my wife, and we have a laser cutter, and she cuts that out of black and white acrylic. So it's white acrylic, and then when you cut into it with the laser, it makes the black come out. So we make those keychains right here in this house. It stinks up the house of acrylic, so we have like 2 air filters going to try to get that smell out. But if you notice on the back, it says official member of the Blood Bunny Colony. So for $8, you don't only get a cool keychain, which is about that big, so it's a fairly good sized keychain, and it's adorable. You don't only get a keychain, but if you get the keychain from here, you get a discount or a benefit or something on all future so-called living Kickstarters. So once you buy this, your email is automatically entered into a list of the Blood Bunny Colony, and you'll get, like, I sent an email to all the people who became a member during the first Kickstarter. So I told them, for this Kickstarter, if you back like the standard, you'll get a free upgrade to the elite. If you back the elite, you'll get a free upgrade to the sex pot. And if you don't want the upgrade at all, you can get a free print and sticker set. So that's the options, and you get those are all free of charge upgrades or bonuses if you're a member. So what I want to do is every Kickstarter that I do for So-Called Living, I want to be able to give those members something special because they helped out in the beginning, right? So that's, I just want to give back, because I'm so appreciative of the fact that people are out there and just like giving me their hard-earned money to build my dream. Like, that's, thinking about it is crazy. It's not like just buying something at a store that's already done. Like, I need the money that I raised from Kickstarter to get it done. Like, I've already paid out of pocket for the art, so the Kickstarter helps fund the printing, so I get it printed, and then eventually the sales, I'm hoping to make some money back so I can pay myself back for the artist, because like I'm still in the hole for everything, so I've made nothing on this, so it's still just like a passion project. Anyways,
That's unfortunately a thing that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
someday you guys, a lot of you are going to be making it to the point where, like, anytime you make something on a Kickstarter, it's not just gonna fund everybody else, or it's not just gonna fund the next comic book stuff that you're gonna be doing, but it should also be funding yourself.
That'd be nice.
I'm so dumb. I just realized these are add-ons.
Yeah, these are add-ons.
So $5, we have all books signed. $8, we have the Blood Bunny keychain. Did you do this bunny too?
Well, that bunny was my friend Jamie drew it, and I just recreated it in Illustrator, so we could, because I have a low res version, so I had to create it in Illustrator to make it usable.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, it's based on my friend Jamie Reel. He actually did the Sexbot cover for issue 2 He did the sex bot issue, and it's funny because drawing sexy people is not like his thing. So when I asked him to do it, I think he felt awkward about the whole thing. So he's asked to do an elite cover, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I wanted actually Jamie to be the artist for the inside of the book. He's the first artist I went to. Like I love Jamie's stuff, and but he's got a whole, he's a career in video games. He's got, family life when he gets home. So it's hard to commit to making a comic book. It's a lot of work, right?
It's true. Reese asks, have you got one with a rabid bunny with bloody fangs and his guts kind of
So
falling out?
here's the thing. I'm going to give you a little, this is something I don't talk about a lot. The bunnies will always look like this, as in they'll always like the cover. They'll always look docile and kind of like big-eyed, and they're always just kind of there. You never see the bunnies doing anything violent. You never see them do anything, but everybody's afraid of them. You don't know why. And then they'll it's like a Batman thing. You turn away and you look back and they're gone, but they might leave just like carnage in their wake, and you don't know what happened. So
oh my gosh, it's the Monty Python Killer Bunny.
But they always look like this. You know what I mean? Like they always be cute, innocent, clean. There's never any blood on them. There's never anything. They're just like, so everybody's very much like, what's with the bunnies?
And that's why there's a cross on them.
Yeah, so exactly. So it was like and this is just additional pledges if anybody wants extra. We actually had somebody buy 3 all-ins, which is a great way to save on shipping if you want to split it with your friends. So yeah, that was that pledge came in yesterday. Somebody bought 3 all-ins. I was like, oh, that's nice.
And the zombies look super happy about it too.
Yeah, the zombies in this world are they're kind of like street people. Like they just, so instead of crackheads lurking in doorways, it's zombies everywhere. Like that's the thing. Like wherever you'd find like people lurking in doorways or like in shady alleys, you'll find zombies in this world, which makes sense because if there was a zombie apocalypse, the people living on the street would be the first targeted.
That is very true. Oh,
so,
and then they eat the brains. And then over here is just the explanation for the add-ons, and then all original pledges, books 1 and 2. We got 25, 30, 35, and 80.
Yeah,
Am
so
I
those
describing?
Oh yeah, well, it's pretty much the same packages that we have for this Kickstarter. So it's the same deal, where it's the same story, variant covers. So the $25 one is the Marcos covers. That's these ones. Yeah, it's these ones right here. So that's these. And the 30 is the guest covers. And that's the purple one. You can barely see it, but the purple one that's there is Derek Loffman. He's a great artist. He's the one I just mentioned that he just finished his Kickstarter, got almost 100 grand on his Kickstarter. So good for him. He's got a huge following. He's a friend. He's been a friend of mine for like 25 years. And, the cover beside that in the $30 range there is it's a photograph by a famous photographer in Toronto, Ashton Techno Prasad, and he gets flown around to like Paris and New York, and they fly him there to go take pictures of the city, and they'll do exhibits with his work. So that's a picture of Toronto. So being like a Toronto boy, I wanted to kind of pay homage to my city, and I wanted to use one of his pieces. I've known Ashton since he was 9 years old. Oh, wow. So he's an adult now, and he's doing amazing things. And when I first saw his work, I was like, your photography is amazing. Like, you should check out Ashton Techno Prasad. I think it's just Ashton Techno on Instagram. Amazing stuff.
Have anything to do with techno?
I don't know why he goes by techno. I don't,
because probably the certain version of technology. I just got it.
Maybe, yeah. So I don't know why. Like, I don't know exactly why he uses it. Maybe I'll ask him next time I see him. I'll see him in a few weeks actually.
Yay!
But the 35 one, those are the old sex pot covers, and those were kind of just sexy versions of characters that were in the game. And then the 80 is the all in. So that's the simple version. That's just basically the old Kickstarter that happened in March. If you missed it, you can get those pledges.
Oh man, I wish I could see them like full screen up here.
Yeah, these ones are they're tiny. Their day is gone. But we do have some slightly bigger photos here of them, but they're mostly covered. These are, and this is interesting, right? Because it says used to be 50, now it's 45, but that's Canadian dollars. So when you Americans back it, the number
50.
that auto adjusts on Kickstarter will say a different price. So it might be a little confusing now that I think about it, because on the side backing tier window, it'll say $45 in the image, but the price at the bottom will actually be like $40. Because
well, it does say, make a pledge without a word. It's in Canadian dollars.
Yep. So $1 for you guys. That's like it. That'd be nothing. It's like 30 cents for you guys. But so this is where you can catch up. So if you missed the first Kickstarter, you can get books 1, 2, 3, and 4 at a discounted rate if you get them all. So you get all the physical copies, you get all the digital copies, and this is a great way to catch up on the whole story. So you get a discounted rate if you get all of them. And you can get them in the standard, you can get them in the elite, or you can get them in the sex pot. So you can get all the standard, all the elite, all the sex pots. So yeah. And so far of the catch-up packages, I don't know if it's changed. Last time I checked, the most popular catch-up package was the sex pot edition. Somebody wants all 4 sex pot editions. I was like, oh, okay. I honestly thought for that one, the most popular one would be the standard, just because it's just catch up on the story. But yeah, so that was pretty good. And the I'm actually impressed that the all-in is doing almost just as well as the standard. So just as many people bought all-in as they did standard, which is interesting because the standard one's like $25 and the all-in is like 80. Because you get all the covers, you get all the covers in the digital print as well, and like it's cheaper if you want all the covers to go all in, but yeah, it's like I'm always honored when anybody wants to put that much into my work so I can keep the dream going, right, and make the next book. It's awesome. And yes, sex does sell. Hence the books. hence the covers.
And then this is the sex pot one, right?
Yeah, that's the sex pot one. That's all of them.
Nice. Get it all and save. I was gonna say 4 for 65 is not that bad, but then I realized it's not gonna be 65 if I were to get it.
No, it's even cheaper. It's like it'll be like 60. I don't know what's the. Well, you could see it actually if you just scroll on the side to that tier. It'll tell you because you're on American Kickstarter. It'll tell you exactly what your numbers are. I'm actually curious if you do that. If you scroll on the sidebar, the right one, if you scroll down on the tiers, what does it say for that package?
Right here. So Canadian $14, but about $11 for me for
Okay.
a PDF 3 and 4 bundle. Then we have the 34 3 and 4 standard covers, which is about $19 instead of Canadian 25.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty good deal.
Then we have the elite covers for $23 instead of $30. We have the sex pot edition, which is $26 instead of $35. We have the catch up collection, which is $45 for Canadian, but $34 for the US.
Yes, this gives you a sign of how bad our dollar is. It's like an $11 discount.
So 55 Canadian dollars for the elite
14
covers, but 41 for the US.
$14 off, and then here
sex pot about $49 instead of $65.
See what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you guys are like laughing.
Why did I think the Canadian money would be more expensive?
No, so that's why it's like it says. So it throws you off because the ticket says 65. That's because in the art, because I base it on the prices I see here. But yeah, anybody else looking, and you get all in for you guys is $60. So it's damn good. That's pretty good.
Oh, that's great. Not great for you though.
No, but it's all right because you guys. No, it's great for me because it makes it cheaper for you guys, and then when you buy it, it still translates to like $55 Canadian for me. So it still works out. So it works out just fine.
I was actually starting to feel bad about that, despite me laughing. Don't
no,
worry,
no,
it
no.
was a nervous laughter.
It actually works out great because I want it to be more enticing to Americans because that's a big, there's a bigger like indie, just there's more people there, more like, because Canada and the States are so the same, right? Minus our dollar being crap. But
Right.
I want to get into the American market, so this is a great way to do it, because I'd sell my books for $2 each if I could afford it, right? But I can't because that's how indies work. So this is great that that's $41 for like this package that you're looking at now, because you guys pay 41, I get 55. You buy in all in for 60, I still get 80. So it's a win-win. So it all works out.
Yay!
It's only a lose if I take that money and go vacation in the States. Then it's not good. That's why I can't go to
and it's
Disney
too
for a while.
expensive
Can't go to Disney for a while.
Oh, so you're the interview with Critical Blast, but not like shoot. Like I could have sworn that Critical Blast is also a thing for comic book materials, like shipping.
Yeah, he's told me about it, or he does like publishing.
Okay, so it is the same person because it's the same logo, and I'm like, am I crazy? But yeah, I know people who have like been through him and everything.
Yeah, he's very like, he was selling me on his system that he's got, but I was like, I already have printers. Like, I'm maybe for the next project, or maybe if I do like a collected edition, then we could talk. But right now, I'm kind of set up with a printing house here in Canada. Well, it's in Montreal. Well, it is in Canada, but it's not in my city. So it's in Montreal, which is still pretty far away. And they're marquee printing, and they're great. So that's why I have like all my issues are going to be done by them until these are done. And then I'll put your thumbnail on here too. Eventually, I'll just update it, because this is like a playlist of all the YouTube channels I went on, done interviews. So you can click there, and it takes you right to my Board Game Coffee page, where I have a playlist of all these interviews.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. So it says click anywhere on this list, even here. so if you go that takes you to the playlist.
Oh, okay. Wait. So where do I click then?
Right where the big green arrow is pointing.
Right here.
Just click here. Is it not working?
Nope.
Oh no. Well, I can fix that right now.
Yeah, testing it out.
That was.
I'm like, it's not showing the
it's
finger.
all right.
It usually does.
That means I'm gonna have my wife was on proofreading and checking all the links before this went live, so she missed one. So I'm gonna be like, so hey, you missed a link.
And you embarrassed me live. So what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, so I was like, we're gonna see how this is gonna go down. So now I
can't wait to see my really ugly thumbnail on here. I love my really ugly thumbnails. They're just simple.
There you go. So I got the link. And what I like about Kickstarter is how easy it is to like fix things. So that's nice. Although, I've never adjusted the page while it was live, so I'm assuming I'm not going to mess anything up. Let me see. Click on that. A little bit of this.
Love the overconfidence.
A little bit of that. And there you go. That link should work now. I'm curious. Does it work for you yet?
The page?
Maybe. But yeah, I saved it, so it should work now.
Let me refresh the page.
Yeah, refresh it. I'm curious. Let's see if it fixed on your end.
There we go. Now if I click on it, there we go. Yep.
It works. There you go. Beautiful. That was easy enough to fix. Thank you for finding that.
You're welcome. And it was by complete accident, but
well, that was great.
And then we have the estimated shipping costs. Oh, I see. We give back the 12.
This is, so you know what? The again, that's in Canadian dollars. It's 12 Canadian dollars, so it's gonna be like $10 for you guys, and that covers even the all-ins. So that's like it's like either 2 books or 6 books, and it's $12. And my goal was trying to get shipping as low as possible. I did not want to pad the shipping. I did not want to make money on shipping. If anything, in certain locations, I like I eat the difference on the shipping. And actually, it's more expensive to ship in Canada than in the States for most of the locations in the States. Like I say, all backers $10 in Canada. There's places like I think in London, it costs more to ship in my city. But there are other places in Canada which it's our shipping here is ridiculous. Our postal system here is nuts. But $12 anywhere in the States is the lowest I could get it, and which I think is pretty good considering I've tried to buy one book on Kickstarter from the States to here, and it was $28 shipping for one book. That's more than the book. It was just like a regular comic. So I was like, whew, that'll be a digital purchase. I don't mind paying shipping. I get the Kickstarter thing, but when the shipping costs more than the thing that I'm buying, it's kind of where I like second guess. So our goal was, we did a lot of research trying to get it as cheap as possible. So this is it. Yeah.
Nice. What's the 2 and 6 book thing? Don't you just have four books out?
No, it's because our packages are you buy books 3 and 4, but if you get the all in, you get 6 covers, so you get 6 books. So the reason I separated here like that is because for these locations, the price difference is so great between just shipping 2 books versus 6 books. I had to separate it. So if you buy just books 3 and 4, like whatever cover, it's $16 Canadian to ship to the UK. But if they buy 6, like all the covers, they buy 6 books, it's going to cost $21. So it just happens.
6 covers.
Yeah, all in is because it's all in is all the books, like all the new books, because it says all in new stuff or whatever. I can't remember what it says, but it's all the new stuff. So you would get books 3 and 4, standard edition, elite edition, and 6-pot edition.
Oh, okay. I was thinking too hard. And then we have risks and challenges, but you made funding and stuff, so I think that's fine. For the people who just showed up, am I allowed to play the video one more time?
Please, by all means.
Whee!
I'm gonna drink some water.
Yeah. Yo, you frickards.
Jack is back, baby. If you're a fan or were even moderately entertained by so-called living books 1 and 2, then you're gonna love books 3 and 4. This time around, we've got more action, more laughs, and more of these guys who are not to be trifled with. And the return of everyone's favorite BFBs, Nick and Casper. If you missed it the first time, So-Called Living is a dark comedy about a guy named Jack who gets turned into a vampire and has to learn to adapt to this new way of living. And unbeknownst to Jack, the mob has gotten wind of his newly sired vampire status, and they are very interested, but not in a good way. Books 3 and 4 also introduce some new characters that will play a pivotal role in our evolving storyline, some of which are sure to become fan favorites.
Who's Jenny?
But you know what the best part is? Marco Leone is back. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The amazing artist who poured all that visual goodness into your eyeballs the first time around has got a gravy boat full of artistry that will delight your corneas. A ladle of...
Okay, enough with the food metaphors. We get it. Marco's good, and we're lucky to have him. Just say that.
I was just doing a thing.
I know. Stop it.
Okay, we're really lucky to have Marco. He's really good at the drawings. And that's not all. For our elite covers, we've snagged Doug Wright Award nominee and all-around good guy, John Little, to grace us with this fantastic variant for Book 3. And for our Book 4 elite cover, we have a rare treat indeed, brought to us by the one, the only, Mark Maia. Yeah, I drew this one. Now, if you're looking for variants of the sexy persuasion, allow me to introduce you to our obligatory sex-pot editions. This time around, we've called upon the ridiculously talented Larry Clausen to produce a set of what could possibly be our sexiest covers yet. And for our returning backers who joined the Blood Bunny Colony the first time around, check your email for a special deal exclusive to you. Now, if you haven't joined the colony yet, we've got you covered. These adorable keychains are up for grabs yet again. By picking one up, you will be automatically inducted into the Blood Bunny Colony, which unlocks special deals on all future so-called living Kickstarters. But most importantly, you need to know that without you, none of this would have been possible. And for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you.
The music gets me every time.
That music is actually from you see there's a logo, Board Game Coffee, the round logo. That's my YouTube channel. So I have a YouTube channel with board games. So that music is from my channel. So I thought I'd put it in there. And and also like the fact that my wife was braiding me off screen, that's when we do previews and reviews, that's like a common joke throughout, like I've been doing for the longest time, for years on the channel, where I'll say something stupid and she's like, no, or stop, or like, why do you do? Sometimes she's on camera, but a lot of times it's just a voice off screen. So
You got it, Joseph. Welcome back. Stop it. Oh, I love it so much.
well, I'm glad you liked the video, because it took a long time to do. I was going for a kind of a lost VHS archives look to it.
Ah, yeah. That's what I got. Also,
Yeah.
I loved how you showed the board games in the background. I was like, that's a lot of board games.
Oh yeah, that's lots. I have 700 or something like
Do you
that.
have some that
Yeah.
are like the same, like two of the same kind, or just it's
Um,
always one different?
no, they're all. I might have one or two that might be the same, and they're
You
on
hear
the
that, guys?
they're on
He's
a
giving one away. Just
they're on a pile for, like, I did do, like, all the giveaways I had, I gave away, but I do have some that I'm like selling that I somehow got 2 copies of, but I don't have many. I have like 2. Most,
That
but out
happens
of
to me all the
700
time.
games, having 2 copies is not a big deal. But no, they're all unique games, and because I work in board game media, I get a lot of them sent to me for free. So there's a lot of brown boxes in my basement of just like
Understandable.
things. I have 3 big brown boxes currently in my foyer that were delivered this week that I have not brought downstairs, because I was like, I don't know where to put them, because they've been coming when I've been working really. If I'm busy and they come, I don't have time to put these
No,
anywhere.
I understand. Like, I have a few as well that I didn't open, and I should open them. You should upload the video on all platforms possible. It's well done. Well,
Thank
that
you.
could be a problem because of what you were telling me before we started. Like, if you were to share for your YouTube, and then I think it was
Well,
just your YouTube.
yeah, it's not necessarily a problem. Is I haven't shared it on my own personal board game coffee channel, which is a good channel. Like, it's a fairly decent channel. Like, we're just under 17,000 subs.
Congrats.
Thank you. But thing is, putting it on there, like, I don't want to alienate the people who are there for board games. So when they come in like, yeah, what's the new board game news? It's like, oh, he's talking about his comic book again. So I rarely do anything on that channel, but I'm more than happy to like share it wherever. I just don't know where to share things. Here's the thing. I only know what I need to know. So I haven't needed to know where to like how many different platforms I could share this on. So if there is more platforms, I'm more than happy to take, like, if you got any suggestions or recommendations, I'm more than happy to share the video wherever I can. I'm learning a lot of things, and most of my life is work. So I don't even I subscribe to channels, although I don't really follow the channels to subscribe to, because I don't have like me time. Anytime I do, that's like me time. I try to play with my toddler, or hang out with him, because he's like the most
No,
important thing
I
in my life.
understand that completely because that happens to me a lot. I'm like, man, I have not watched this person in 6 months. but I want to play some video games, so
Yeah, so I even video games. I love video games. So the only way I've been able to play them recently is because I have a Steam Deck, and if I go to bed and I can't go to sleep, then I'll break it out and I'll play for like 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and then I pass out. So that's the only way I get to play anything. Or if I'm on a long car ride, I usually sit in the back. Like my wife likes to drive. I don't like to drive.
I don't like to drive either.
So I sit in the back with my son, and if he falls asleep, then I break out my Steam Deck and I'll play there. So that's when I get to play. But other than that, if I'm home, I'm working and I'm never looking at things. And when people talk to me, they're like, how don't you know this is a big issue? I was like, I don't, because you'd only know if you looked online to what the outside world is happening. I had no idea. Like I just found out about the flooding or the hurricanes that was happening in certain parts.
Florida.
Yeah.
I also found out about the flooding like a few days ago, and I didn't know because I haven't been accurately looking at social media for the past couple weeks.
Was it a hurricane? Is that what hit?
Yeah, it was a hurricane, and the hurricane caused flooding.
Because I have a friend of mine who's I can't remember exactly where he lives, but he's in the States somewhere. And I messaged him about the Kickstarter, and he's like, then he was apologizing. He's like, sorry, but I can't back you on this one. He was like, we got to save up as much as we can. We don't even have power since the flood. We don't have food because everything. I was like, whoa, flood? What? He's like, yeah, the hurricane that hit. I was like, what hurricane? I had no idea. He just I just learned about this, and because I don't look at the news because I'm just like it's not like I don't care what's happening in the world. I've got so much
preoccupied in the stuff that you're already in. That
I got blinders on, and I was like, I got to focus on this. If I start drifting off to what's happening elsewhere in the world, this isn't going to get done. And with a YouTube channel, a day job in video games, writing a comic book, running a Kickstarter, having a toddler, there's no time for anything else. So
yeah, I was also like, I found out about the hurricane at work, and my job is considered like essential, so it's not like we'll ever close if something were to happen because we also have generators and stuff. But they were like, "Oh, are you preparing for the hurricane?" And I was like, "We have a hurricane?" And I'm like, "I didn't know." It's like, is that why it's been very windy outside? I'm like, "No, I didn't know."
I was literally, it was like 2 months ago. I was sitting here working just at my desk, just like tick, 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 doing my thing, and all of a sudden, like the power just went boop. It was just out, and I was like, "What happened?" I checked my breakers, like they're fine. I go upstairs because all the windows are blocked out here because I have a home theater like over there. So that way, yeah. So I have a home theater, and I don't want the light coming in, so I just block out everything. I put boxes and everything's blocked out, so it's just like a dark thing. And when I record, I don't want any natural light coming in because I record at night, so the sun changes the temperature of the room. Anyways, I go upstairs, and apparently there's a huge storm knocking down trees and power lines, all happening outside, and I had no idea. I was so zoned into my work. I had like headphones on. I'm just like listening to an audiobook, doing whatever. And yeah, as the power, it was like such a huge storm. Like 10 trees went down. Power was out like all day. It was, and I got people calling me being like, "Are you okay?" It's like, I'm fine. I had no idea anything was going on.
So, for me, like I've been, since hurricane season started, I've been having like Wi-Fi outages, light outages, like on and off for the past few weeks. So I didn't really notice anything different. But a few days ago, I think last week, I was live for an interview, and then I have people asking me if I'm okay, and have I seen any alligators, and I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Alligators? And they're like, Bianca, the flood. And I'm like, what flood? What are you talking about? And I'm like, what does this have to do with the alligators? I don't understand. And so after the interview, I had to I had like lots of people texting me the past few days if I was okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. It's just been windy over here. And then I'm looking up everything as much as I can. And I'm like, I literally cannot. YouTube won't give me that much on what the heck happened. Especially with anything alligator related. Just something called Alligator Point. And that it's a dock with houses in it. so it's surrounded by water, and I was like, I would never live here, especially if it's called Alligator Point. I'm sorry.
We have like a
But
Sharknado situation.
It was funny because the interview was funny. They interviewed the people. They're like, so are you gonna leave? They're like, we're 70. We don't care. We're not gonna leave. And I'm like, why am I laughing? Why are you people like this? But then again, I live in Florida, and I haven't left, so. But unfortunate to a lot of the people that got hurt, lost all their stuff. You know, that's very sad. And I'm still, now that I have somewhat free time, I'm still trying to see if I can learn anything from on it, because YouTube won't give me anything, so I have to go on Twitter. Stupid Twitter. But I will say that for the promotional video trailer that you have, from what I learned from a person who is somewhat similar to a social media's manager, you share it everywhere. That's what she said. She's like, what you got, whatever platforms you got, you share it everywhere. You're going to get something different every time. So people like to do it on like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. You can put it as a post, but also in Reels, because that's a separate thing than story that I had to learn about. Apparently some from my Reels would actually get me some views that I actually wanted, and I'm like, oh, so I should just be using that. That's crazy.
I mean, I'm gonna put that on my to-do list to do that tomorrow. I did put it on Instagram. I'm gonna write that down. So I did share it on Instagram on Reels there. So I'm gonna make a note.
Nice, nice.
I take all advice I can. I implement as much as I can. So I'm very much like, somebody tells me try this, and I was like, yeah, if I can do it, I'm gonna try it. The only advice I can't take is when people are like, oh, you should print here. I was like, well, I already got to deal with printers, so I can't do that, but I'll keep that in mind for the future. Or somebody gave a suggestion for the Kickstarter. I was like, that's a great idea. I'll do that for the next Kickstarter. It's too late to do it for this one because it's already cat's out of the bag. So I can't do that one. But yeah, so any ideas anybody has, I'm more than happy, because I know that I know nothing. Well, I know more now than I did. Yeah. So everything's for the next Kickstarter.
See all of the covers, full face value, like in my face, 3D if it has to be. I want to see it all in its zoomed up full picture quality.
Well, if you got the press kit, they're all in there. So you got a private look, a little sneak peek behind the curtain.
Yay! All right, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for asking some questions, showing some commentary, saying some commentary. We had a great time, and all the links are in the description. So his social medias are in the description, his YouTube channel, which consists of board games. It's board game info, how to play, that kind of stuff, right?
Yep, and reviews, and mostly how to plays recently.
Reviews. Yeah. And you said you had am I allowed to promote the DC one you're doing?
Yeah, I'll be doing it's a board game. I'm over there. It's a DC. I'll be doing a playthrough for DC United, which is a board game you can't see. It's right there. It comes out next year, so I'll be doing a playthrough for that eventually. This is the chaos. this is my chaos, because my studio's over there. This is the table I record on. It doesn't look like a mess when you see it on camera, but that is like, I was hosting my son's 3rd birthday party last week, so there was a lot of board games that were in the way of space we needed, so I had to like drag them all the way down here, and I just placed them there, and I was like, that's a problem for tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then tomorrow.
I do the same thing too, so don't worry. I'm glad that you were able to come on. I am so hyped for the so-called living books that's coming out for the Kickstarter. Okay, so all of his links are in the description. The website, the global comics, the social medias, his YouTube channel for anything board game related if you guys are interested in that. And also, I actually have to give a thank you, Mark. So you may not know, but you're actually my 350th subscriber,
Woo!
and that's something that I have been wanting for like the past few months at least, because I have been stuck in the 330s for the past few months, and I'm just like, why don't you just move? I don't care if you're a bot, just move.
It's I find it's like hard. The first like 1,000 is hard. Like it's a slow crawl to get up there, and then it picks up, but then it slows down again. Because like I got up to, after I broke the 1,000, I got up to 5,000. Okay, then installed again at 10, then 12, and then it jumped from 12 to 16 very fast. Depends on the like, you get the right video out, and it just like boop skyrockets, and then it's slow down again. So, but it works out for me just fine, because the content I do is paid content, except unless it's a review. I don't do paid reviews. That's just dirty. So, but I'll do paid previews or paid playthroughs and how to plays. So it does bring in some extra money for the house, which is nice. Because I have a high viewership, but my subs are low, but my percentage is good. If you look at like subs versus views, you do the subs, it's good that way, or the views are good that way. So
nice. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we're gonna see you guys next time. Goodbye.